There is a major ongoing terror attack in Mali. Terrorists have entered a five-star hotel. They're going from floor to floor, room to room. They've taken 170 people hostage, several foreigners, including several people from France, China. There were 20 Indians. Those 20 Indians, we are now told, are safe. 9 people have reportedly been killed. And according to international agencies, an Al-Qaeda affiliate, Ansar al-Din is the terrorist group that's suspected to be behind this deadly terror attack at a five-star hotel in Mali. Although this terror group denies any links with Al-Qaeda, intelligence agencies say that it effectively functions as a local umbrella outfit under which Al-Qaeda operatives work. The relationship between the two terror groups is very similar as is between Taliban and Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan and with Lashkar-e-Taiba in Pakistan. That's the latest that we are getting for you. That terrorists went on a shooting spree. They went from room to room. 9 people have reportedly been killed at the luxury Radisson Blu Hotel at Mali's capital, Bamako, on this afternoon. Now, what we're also being told that French security forces were called in to help the army in Mali deal with the situation. India Today's Shiv Arur now joins me with the latest. Shiv, there were 20 Indians in this compound. What more do we know of them and what's the latest with this anti-terror operation?
Well, miraculously enough, Gaurav, these 20 Indians who are in that exact same compound didn't happen to be in the hotel per se, but in a building right adjacent to it. It was separated by a wall. So thankfully, the terrorists of the Al-Din were not able to access them directly and actually take them hostage. We can confirm from our sources. In fact, the spokesperson of the External Affairs Ministry has confirmed to India Today that all 20 Indians have been evacuated from that site and they are completely safe. No more Indians in there. But having said that, the situation is still very much on. Even though 80 people were released earlier, there are considered to be at least 30 to 40 hostages still inside the Radisson Blu Hotel in Bamako, Mali, whose life is obviously under threat right now because there are armed gunmen of that Al-Qaeda affiliate who are holding them hostage at this time. We understand that France has dispatched a crack anti-terror unit to this particular location, which they'll be reaching shortly. So it's a storming operation is conceivably on the horizon, Gaurav, but it's obviously a very, very sensitive situation with so many lives still trapped in their hostages of these terrorists.
Terrorists in the past in Mali, Shiv, have targeted foreigners. British nationals and tourists have been killed. American nationals have been targeted in the past. Now, were the French nationals being targeted? Is it anyway related to the current offensive that the French security forces have mounted against the Islamic State?
It would be tempting to draw that parallel, Gaurav, and I think it's only natural that parallel will be drawn by all observers looking at this particular attack, because remember, France has very much to do with Mali. Just about 6 months ago, when there was a jihadi unrest, when Islamists had threatened to take over the administration in certain parts of northern Mali, it was a French intervention that had actually staved it off. So there has been resentment against France by some of these groups since that time, obviously coupled with what's going on in Syria at this point of time, with the retaliatory strikes by the French government against ISIS strongholds in Syria, could very much be part of the narrative playing out in West Africa and in Europe at this point of time. So the linkages between what's happening in Syria and what's happening in Mali is a parallel that will very credibly be drawn by analysts, and we're looking at those parallels as well. But in this live situation that's playing out, the other glaring point, of course, is that France is getting directly involved in this anti-terror operation. So that should tell you very much about what those parallels really mean.
Okay. Now, stay with me for a moment, Shiv. I also want to bring in the broadcast Lizel Lau. She's AU Peace and Security Council worker, joins us from Johannesburg. Lizel, what more can you add to the current situation in Mali?
Yes, once again, I work for a report on the AU Peace and Security Council at the Institute for Security Studies. Yes, from our side, as I said earlier, the groups that are affiliated to Al-Qaeda in Mali, are not directly, I didn't hear your previous speaker, but are not directly linked to the ISIS in Daesh in
Yes.
Iraq and Syria and Libya, and Boko Haram as well, But what we know, of course, is the special forces are there. Some of the hostages have been freed. We are watching closely, as you are, in terms
Right.
of international rescue efforts, and the French, of course.
Of course. Lizel, stay with me for a moment. Shiv Arur, my colleague with me on the broadcast. Shiv, some hostages were rescued and some were permitted to go by these terrorists. Can you tell us more about the circumstances in which some were permitted to go?
Well, a Reuters report is suggesting that, certain hostages were being made to, they were tested on their knowledge of the Quran. They were being asked to recite verses of the Quran, and if they could pass those tests, they were actually being freed. But this is an unconfirmed eyewitness report that Reuters has actually quoted, so we cannot independently corroborate that. But this sort of thing has happened in the past once before. It happened in Kenya. It's happened in Nigeria as well with the Boko Haram, Gaurav. So, the modus operandi of actually doing that, trying to spread terror and releasing people based on their knowledge of the Quran is something that's actually happened before in neighboring countries during such attacks. So it may not be beyond the realm of, believability. But the simple fact is, at this point of time, there are 40 or 50 people still inside that hotel. All of those who've been, released by their captors inside that hotel are being debriefed by Malian intelligence and police officials. At this stage, there is currently a live anti-terror operation that is still on.
Okay.
And obviously those who've been released provide a much better first-hand account of precisely who these people were, what their relationship is with the Al-Qaeda, what precisely happened inside that hotel, and the circumstances that they were released on.
Shiv Arur and Lizel Lau, many thanks for joining me. Keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. Now, these terrorists were very well armed. They came in CD cars, diplomatic cars. They shot their way in. They've killed 9 people. They still have about 130 odd people being held hostage. A quick break. There's lots more lined up on the other side of these messages. Keep watching India Today.
Nisagama manipamaga nipama nipamaga sanipama nisapasa जहाँ तक याद आती रहेगी